We're starting a new chapter now, and we're going to be taking a look at how you work with your units in your AutoCAD drawings, and also how you work with your options and how you set them up in AutoCAD. So for this particular chapter, we've got a new drawing for you. It's called units and options.dwg, and you can download it from the library to follow along with a few of the videos in this particular chapter. When you open the drawing, you should be in the Model tab. You can see that there, bottom left in AutoCAD. There's the Model tab down there. And you should be looking at a floor plan where you can see the grid lines, the dimensions, the desks, the chairs, etc. Now, this particular drawing at the moment is set to metric units. Now, I work in metric because I'm based in the UK and we use metric units all the time. Things like millimeters, meters, and so on. We will also discuss imperial units in this chapter as well. So what we're going to take a look at is how we switch on units, set our units, and also display our units in our AutoCAD drawings. Now, the quickest way to set your AutoCAD units is simply to type the word unit. So if you type it, you'll notice there units appears next to the crosshair because I've got my dynamic input switched on. So the suggestion menu pops up. It says, oh, look, you're typing units. So what it does there is it finds every single command that has the word units in it. You just need that one that says units. So you just type units and press enter. And what will happen is the drawing units dialog box will appear. Now, there's a lot of information in the dialog box. You only need those two top panes, really, for what we're doing in this particular drawing. So you'll notice we have length, and we have angle. Let's look at length here. Now, there are 5 different settings for length. You've got architectural, decimal, engineering, fractional, and scientific. All of these display in different ways. So, for example, if I went to architectural, there's a little preview there. You can see it's obviously an imperial display, and you can see there that it's feet and inches. If I come down to decimal, though, it's a metric display, with a precision there with a decimal place. Now, there's nothing to say that you're not measuring your inches, your feet in a decimal methodology. You might be doing 1.5 feet or 1.5 inches. But a lot of the time, if you're working in imperial, you'll go for something like architectural, engineering, or fractional. So fractional, can you see? There's feet and quarter of an inch. Now, I'm going to go with decimal purely for clarity, like so, and you've got different levels of precision. You can actually go to 8 decimal places after the decimal point, you'll notice there. Can you see that? So you can get really accurate with AutoCAD. AutoCAD in the background with your computer's processor can actually work to 20 decimal places. So it can be pretty accurate if it needs to be. Let's just go with 1 decimal place for length. Now, over here, angles, again, we've got different methodologies. We've got decimal degrees, degrees, minutes, and seconds. We've got gradients and radians and surveyor's units. Surveyor's units, points of the compass, as you can see, with degrees, minutes, and seconds. And you've got things like radians, so you've got precision to an R. Now, gradients and radians are all to do with pi and circles. Let's just keep it simple. We'll go with decimal degrees, like so. Now, decimal degrees, again, you've got those 8 decimal places there. Now, be aware, angles are important. That 0.12 of an angle, as you make that angle bigger and wider, does become, in essence, a slice of pie that gets bigger and bigger, coming out from the center of a circle. So you might want to double up there on your precision. So you might go to 2 decimal places. So if I was using for length 2 decimal places there, double it up for your angles to 4. And the reason I say that is it just means you're being really precise in your drawings. You don't have to display these units either. You can override them in your dimension styles that we'll cover later. Also, anti-clockwise or counterclockwise is the default direction of measurement for angles in AutoCAD, but you can fix it to clockwise there, like so if you want to. Insertion scale, you don't need to worry about that. It should really be millimeters because this drawing is in millimeters. When we go into options later, I'll explain how those options can be set. Lighting, you don't need to worry about. We're not doing any sort of rendering or visualization, so we don't need to worry about lighting settings. I mentioned direction of angle measurement. You can see there that the base angle is going to the east, 0 degrees. You can change that around if you need to. The default is always east though, and I'm going to leave it at east for now. So I'll OK that, and I'll OK that like so. So our drawing units are now set. And the way that we can check that is to check our coordinates in our drawing. Now, as I move the crosshair around, I'm moving the crosshair in all different directions at the moment, and there's coordinates there. But how do I get those coordinates to display? I come down here to the customization icon, just click on the little 3 bars there, and you'll see coordinates right at the top of the list. Click there like so. They will now display on the status bar. Down to the 3 lines again to turn the menu off, and there's our coordinates there. Can you see? And because they're length coordinates, they've got 2 decimal places as I move around. Notice the 0 stays static. That's the Z coordinate. We're working in 2D, so we've only got X and Y. Z is always 0 because we're flat in a 2D flat floor plan. So as you can see, that is how you set your units in your AutoCAD drawings. It's that quick and easy. Now, one thing I will show you, if you want to jump into your unit settings, such as decimal, architectural, engineering, you can also, down here on the status bar, jump in here, click on the customization. You'll see that we've got a units option to display on the status bar. So I'll click on units, like so, click on the 3 bars again to close the menu, and you can see there that I can now jump in there and it will tell me which methodology I'm using for my units, which is decimal at the moment. That's what we set in our units dialog box. So you can check what you're using there by doing that as well. So that's how you set your units in your AutoCAD drawings.